March 20th, 2009. This was the day an unforgettable miracle happened. The flight that we will be talking about today was using an A340-500, which was registered as A6-ERG. On board were 257 passengers and 18 crew members. The captain on board had gained 8,195 flight hours with 1,372 flight hours in the Airbus A340. To the right of the captain was the first officer. He had accumulated 8,316 flight hours, but only 416 on the A340. There were also 2 relief pilots, as it was a long flight, with the relief pilot having 12,486 flight hours, making him the most experienced crew member, and the relief first officer with 6,438 flight hours. The A340 was flying the scheduled flight of Auckland to Dubai with a stopover in Melbourne for an 18.5-hour flight. The flight took them over the Tasman Sea into the state of Victoria, Australia, for a landing in Melbourne. The flight was then supposed to take them over southern and western Australia, over the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka, India, and again over the Indian Ocean before finally landing at Dubai International Airport. But this never happened. While the captain was talking to ATC, the first officer prepared the plane for takeoff and the rest of its flight. This also included entering information into the electronic flight bag, or EFB. The EFB was responsible for calculating engine speeds, flap settings, and rotation speeds after taking in various pieces of data such as weight and temperature. Another system on the aircraft was also being worked upon by the first officer, and this was the aircraft's flight management and guidance system, and the crew wanted to add an extra ton or 1,000 kilograms just to be safe. However, when entering the data into the EFB, the first officer put 262.9 pounds instead of 362.9 pounds. This went unnoticed by both the captain and first officer, mainly due to the captain being distracted with air traffic control. No verbal check was made. Then the captain entered the EFB performance parameters into the FMGS and cross-checked them with the first officer against the previously transcribed values on the flight. The error would remain unnoticed for the remainder of the flight. At 10:30 p.m. local time, the air traffic controller cleared flight 407 onto the runway and it started its takeoff roll. Little did the pilots know this would not be a normal takeoff. The captain called rotate and the first officer pulled the nose up, but the plane did not lift off. The captain called rotate for a second time and the nose lifted, but the plane did not. Realizing the problem, the captain put the throttles to toga and the plane went off the runway. After hitting a strobe light and a few antennas, the plane lifted off, but it had a tail strike. The pilots then decided to circle Phillip Bay until they reached a weight of 280 tons or 280,000 kilograms. And during this circling, the crew did a check using the Quick Reference Handbook, or the QRH, of all the calculations to make sure they were all correct. After takeoff, the plane landed safely back at Melbourne International Airport on runway 34. Even though an evacuation was suggested, the crew did not evacuate and just went to the terminal and disembarked all the passengers. The ATSB, or the Australian Transport Safety Bureau, along with a few other agencies, decided that the cause of this near crash was pilot error, and more specifically, The flight crew did not detect the erroneous takeoff weight that was used for the takeoff performance calculations, and the flight crew did not detect the degraded takeoff performance until very late in the takeoff roll. Despite this disaster, all passengers and crew members survived with no injuries. The plane was then repaired, and the A340-500 went back into service, operating low-altitude flights from 2009 to 2014. The flights were from Melbourne to Toulouse via Perth, Singapore, Dubai and Cairo until it was stored in Tarbes Lourdes Pyrenees Airport. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more of this content. Please put your video recommendations in the comments below. Thank you.